Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. The chapter is actually in Heidelberg. So we have 51 gateways. 51 gateways in the area, so we cover like 50 kilometers in a circle. And we have mostly beekeepers who are tracking the bees and the bees escaping from beehives. In SAP, I've been doing product management for enterprise software, and we usually don't go to a conference about connectivity and devices, but for the last 5 years, I've been part of a department that was focusing on Internet of Things. And I would like to show you a scenario today on how a business process in an ERP system can be influenced by sensor data coming from LoRaWAN. I've also created a sample source code and a GitHub repository that was published yesterday, and you can access this and you can also go after this. Instead of showing marketing slides, I put them to the end, and I'd rather show you the system and how it actually works with a live demo. I hope this works here. I do need one volunteer to help me with the sensor, triggering the sensor. Who wants to be a volunteer? Do you want to be a volunteer? Yes. So this is a artificial heart. Don't drop it. It's in there. And this is the Things Network sensor node. If you could just hold this here and take it to your seat. Please take care. It shouldn't fall. It should also not be exposed to light, because this is very sensitive to light. So the scenario that we want to talk about is tracking of a delivery. The box is in his hands now. He is doing the delivery. And so far, we have the Things node, and we have a business process in ERP. And I want to show you how those two things fit together. There's a clicker. The only one slide. Yes, this one. So on the left side, we have something that you know very well, a device with application firmware that you might have built or that you might have taken off the shelf. Then the Things network to manage the device, the connectivity, to join it into the network, to deal with all the gateways. And on the very right, we have SAP, a business application for materials management, sales order management, human resources, financial accounting, basically everything one of our 50,000 big customers are doing with SAP. So in this SAP system, the SAP system only knows about the delivery. There's a delivery scheduled. There's picking and packing happening in the warehouse. It has happened. The delivery is on its way. And what I'd like to show you next is how to tie this together with a component from SAP called Leonardo IoT. It's a little bit like the AWS IoT that you saw before, only that allows you to tie in with the business application out of the box. I'd like to show you this live in the system, and for that I have to go back there, but you will be able to see everything on the screen. So some of you might be well aware of this. It's the Thing Network console. And we have one application called COM SAP Delivery Insights. In this application, we have 3 devices. 2 of them are running. 1 of them is not running right now. For the one device that is in the hand of the volunteer, we have data coming in about every 5 minutes. And the luminosity is 28, which is low. So it's dark, no problem. The delivery doesn't have a problem. How many of you are well aware of this console and have used it in the past? Can you raise your hand? Thanks. So the next thing I'd like to show is an SAP system. This is the S4 cloud system. S4 cloud is ERP in the cloud. And it deals with sales order fulfillment, tracking, sales, and also other things like import foreign exchange rates. So it's a pretty deep application system. How many of you have touched SAP or worked with SAP in the room? Can you raise your hand? Okay, that's good. About the same number. Not sure if you hooked them up with each other yet. So to be able to hook them up with each other, the third thing I want to pull up is this thing, where I have to log in again. It's the IoT platform from SAP. It runs within the SAP Cloud Platform, and it runs on top of AWS. It allows you to define the digital twin or the thing in the Internet of Things in an abstract way. And then it can also deal with master data from a business application. And then it has rules and actions. So to have this delivery taken care of, I go into the thing modeler and look at the delivery insights application. In this application, we created a delivery, and I already created one instance of this. And here below, you will be able to see the very common field names that you might know from an SAP system. It's usually all uppercase. Sometimes there's German words in the field names. You have to get used to that. It's a global system, so of course texts in the UI will be multi-language, but this is a typical field name from an SAP system. And for example, here we're tracking the sales order 23395. So this data has been replicated from the ERP system into the IoT platform, into the middleware, and now we would be able to track values. To do that, we did hook it up to the properties from the physical device using a mapping tool. On the right, you can see the luminosity _6 from the Cayenne framework. This is the naming that this Cayenne framework uses. Analog in 4, which is the battery value, and the temperature 5. And on the left, you can see from a business point of view, what does this translate to? Which property should this be fed into? So right now, the condition of this hard delivery is the battery is at 3.8 volt. It's good that I changed it yesterday. The light is the 20 lux, and the temperature is 25.4 degrees Celsius. So I would now like to ask the volunteer to turn on the flashlight of his phone and hold it to the sensor device. I think you're doing it, right? So if you could press the little button on the sensor device, then we will see right away the data coming through. Yes, here it's coming through. Luminosity is still 88. If you can put more light to it, so we get the value of 500. And press the button one more time. Okay, this was much better. 970. That's all you needed to do. Thanks very much for your help. So we now have 970 as a value. If we go in here, this will also update. But what I didn't show yet is that there's a rule that says if it's more than 500, trigger something in the backend. And this is this rule here. It basically calls into the SAP system via a so-called communication agreement or remote function call. And this is the payload that it's transferring. It's taking most of the master data from the thing, from the digital twin, and then it adds the sensor values, and it calls a specific API to create a so-called situation, which means something is wrong with this delivery. So if we go back into the SAP world and do a refresh of the screen, we should see a little red tag showing up in the upper right corner, and it does. Okay, what happened? So the values was higher than 500. The text is not correct here. It actually says temperature, but we use luminosity to trigger the rule in this case. And what can I do? This will basically bring me to the sales order, and now I have a situation in the ERP system. This situation is something that a business user can now address. For example, he can send a replacement shipment, a new artificial heart that is still okay, and send this to have one in time, even though the other one is on the way. Or he can call the customer. This is something that we support then with decision support and workflows and things like this in the application. So this is what I wanted to show live. If we can go back to the slides. Do you have any questions? Thank you. Thanks. Good job. Any questions? I would like to point out again, one of the key things that we're seeing in here is that there's data coming from two directions. One direction is that the device is sending the measurements, and it's sending the measurements anyway. There might be a delivery, might not be a delivery. So if I remove this again from the box, then it's not associated with the delivery anymore, and we don't care about the data. But if it is tied to a specific delivery and a mapping is established, then these values, the current values, but also all of the historical values, what was the maximum temperature, what was the maximum light exposure, will be completely recorded. There will be time series stored, and you have the option to do analysis on it or to react on it in real time. And because you have all the other master data, the delivery ID, the order ID, the material type, if it's not an artificial heart, but if it's a tomato or if it's some other product that is being shipped, the threshold for the rule is different. So the fact that you take data from the business application and from the sensor and you combine it in the IoT platform is what allows you to really do meaningful decisions on what happens when you get the sensor data coming in. I'd like to close with a few words about SAP. I still have some time for the marketing slides, not much. So SAP has more than 100,000 employees by now. Just at the end of the year, we reached 100,000. We serve 400,000 B2B customers, so that's why no one as a consumer knows about SAP. We mostly sell enterprise software, which you see on the right. CRM software, customer experience, supply chain management software. The digital core is basically materials management, human resources, financial accounting, people management, and spend management. But in the last years, we have done much more in the direction of technology and innovation. For one, we started about 6 or 8 years ago to work on a platform play. That is called the cloud platform. It's a little bit like AWS or Azure, but it's more business process oriented. And now we also have invested in experience management as another area where taking in sensor data allows you to not just look at what people write on Twitter, but also look at the experience that people have with your product. Just to close out the application framework, the IoT platform I've been showing was Leonardo IoT, turning signals into contextual data, taking data from the business process and from the physical asset, and allowing you to scale up data analysis, big data storage, cloud and device connectivity, and master data association. So you can find, these are of 2 customers I'm working with. You can find this example with all the source code from start to finish in GitHub since yesterday. And we have another sample application that I think might be interesting for you. The second link is the developer community. And the third one, that's my email address if you need to reach me. Any last question?
I think it was very clear. Obviously, Marcus, thank you very much. Yes.